Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, "If there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR." For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.
Sixth time North America's road racing community has convened to crown its champions at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. And for the first time in the history of the event, Virginia International Raceway plays host to this fantastic and historic undertaking. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Marine, Larry McLeod alongside Hayward Wagner down in pit lane. And in just a matter of moments, the GT3 class will vie for a national championship. Larry, 17 cars on the entry list. Just a fantastic class, some beautiful race cars, and some big-name drivers as well. It is a star-studded affair, cars and drivers both.
We are going to pick up right where we left off last October at Sonoma, where we had the epic battle to wind out that runoffs between Colin Jackson and today's pole sitter, Michael Lewis. Lewis is back, Jackson's not, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have a battle because Tony Ave decided to join us this year back in GT3, coming from the ranks, of course, of Trans Am. Those two at the front, but don't look too far behind them because that's where they'll be. Also, you got Jeff Durnell, Taz Harvey, Joe Christensen. You get some huge names there. This whole class this year has been amazing. Big bump from last year, just 9 entries. This year, 17. They are growing fast. And
they plan to put on a show for us. I have no doubt about that. We're getting word that the race that preceded this, there was some contact with the tire barrier, and the track staff is going to work right now trying to get that taken care of, as you see on the screens at the moment. So we are in a bit of a delay, but the good news is that gives us some time to talk about this class and the storylines and the championship within a championship that's taking place with GT3 for the first time this year.
This year, it was announced last September, about a year ago, the GT3 Challenge, and it was going to be providing all sorts of contingencies available from Mazda. I've got the whole list here. Mazda, Penske Shocks, Ames Sports, Hoosier Tire, and now involvement from Max Pappas Innovations. And what they've done is they've created a series this year where there are 4 different regions, and there's 4 different regions, each ended up with a different winner. This is the culmination, is that to award a GT3 Challenge winner for 2019.
So that'll be a storyline for us to keep tabs on as the race goes along. Also keeping tabs of the storylines, it's Hayward Wagner down on pit lane. Hi, Hayward.
Hey guys, just a quick update. We've been told that there's a tire wall under the track that's getting repair work. We're estimating at least 9 more minutes before cars are ready to roll off grid. So that's what they're working on here at the track. But we can take a real quick look at the cars that we have here on the grid, give you guys some last-minute updates. Of course, on the pole, Michael Lewis, the lone Goodyear car on this grid. Everybody else towards the front is running on the Hoosier tire. But Michael Lewis, West Coast guy with a lot of Trans Am experience, running on the Goodyears. You guys talked a little bit about the GT3 Challenge, and that's definitely had an effect in this class. And this has really been a focused class to try to get more enrollment, more people involved in the class, because this is really the most accessible of the tube frame classes, this and GT Light. So what they're trying to do with this class is bring more cars to the field. And again, these are tube frame, real race cars. And to give you an example of this, you may recognize the branding on this car, the outline on the red car here in a second, as an Acura RSX. Of course, Acura RSX is a factory car, front drive. This one, rear drive.
Of course, very interesting, these purpose-built race cars. It's a great-looking class, and the strength in numbers certainly helps. I remember when this challenge was announced last year at Sonoma at the runoffs, there was a lot of hope that this would invigorate the GT3 class, and it seems to have had the intended effect.
Absolutely seems to have. Also, there's a lot more central region folks involved with this, so they may not have made the tow last year when this was first announced at Sonoma. They have come back this year, but the California guys have come with them. Michael Lewis being obviously from California. Taz Harvey was 3rd last year. He's back. He'll be starting 4th today. So now you got all the coasts, all the corners covered to create this really thriving class.
And you mentioned Max Pappas Innovations. They're a big proponent of this. They're part of the contingency program. Mad Max himself is here, I understand.
Yes,
He's going to be part of the podium celebration. So if you want to get a chance to meet a racing legend, why don't you just go out and win this thing, and he'll be there waiting for you.
He was here. Mazda put on one of the dinners for their drivers, the teams and families of those drivers. Max was there that night. I heard selfies abound, Max, and he was loving it right in the middle of all of it. Max, great guy. So his involvement certainly well noticed here. Just looking down the order, a lot of Mazdas in this field, but as I mentioned, Mazda, one of the contingency sponsors of this challenge, the GT3 Challenge, but they're actually giving some contingencies away to even some of the non-Mazdas. So as Hayward mentioned, you've got the Honda or the Acura there that Ave is driving, another Honda that Joe Christensen is driving. In fact, that's his new build, and Tony Ave's in his old Honda. Down the order, there's a Toyota, there's a Ford, and another Nissan, a Volvo, and even a Pontiac Sunfire. So we've got a variety of manufacturers. They're not left out of the GT3 Challenge in terms of contingency. They also can win some money.
And if you followed Mazda's involvement in North American road racing over the last decade or so, that shouldn't come as a surprise. Obviously, they were so synonymous with the road to Indy for a long time, and there weren't any Mazdas in the IndyCar series, and yet they were funneling their drivers there. They don't care about that. They want to support grassroots racing, and I give John Doonan, who heads up Mazda Motorsports North America, a lot of credit for his continued commitment at the grassroots level. You can't look anywhere around this paddock without seeing a Mazda emblem somewhere. Our coverage is presented by Mazda, a tremendous partner of road racing in general in North America.
They've seemed to hit each of the different categories as well. Very strong here in GT and the GT3 class. If you want to get started at in more of a starter Formula car, you got the Formula Mazda still around, back on the old Star Mazda cars that are still running. We're going to see those in a different race this weekend. You can go all the way up to the prototypes, where we would see in P1, where you've got the Mazda engine running in the 2.5 liter there, running in those Daytona prototype cars. So Mazda just up and down, then throw right in the middle, of course, with Spec Miata. Very popular also in the STL group. This is just Mazda's everywhere, and what a great supporter that they have been of the program.
Now, you mentioned the contingency program, Mazda, a big part of that, but for the layman at home who's wondering, how do these racers go and make this happen? This is amateur racing. There is money that's involved for sure, but, these are generally independent people funding themselves, funding their hobby, and the contingency program effectively is a chance for some of the manufacturers, whether it be car manufacturer, tire manufacturer that's involved in the sport, to give back to the community.
It's a great opportunity, and Mazda is one of the best ones because they pay out to not just the winner. They go down many, many spots. I'm not sure exactly how deep they're paying. For example, this weekend, I know from, say, on the solo program, they pay, I think it's about 7 places down to Mazda's in a solo championship. They have just been a strong supporter. They were at Solonats. They're obviously here at the Runoffs in big form. They've got the pavilion, put on a big dinner over there. Their drivers and teams get a nice comfy chair, couches, and a beautiful sound TV system to watch the races from. They're huge here, but they support not just the front leaders. They're here to support everyone that's got a Mazda.
A couple of the storylines as we look ahead to the GT3 race, the championship race, in just a moment. There's Michael Lewis, who is your pole sitter, made the tow all the way from California, and as Hayward mentioned, running on the Goodyear tires, which is a little bit unique amongst the front runners. We'll be talking a lot more about him and his pedigree and background throughout the show. But only 4 of the 17 drivers in this field were entered and competed at Sonoma a year ago. You do have 5 former Runoffs champions, 4 of which won championships in this class in the field, and they include Tony Ave, Stacy Wilson, Robert Wakaki, Joe Christensen, and then Michael Lewis, who has won a championship, but that was in GT1. Not in GT3.
Several championships.
That's a good
I
point.
believe he's got 9 of them to his name right now.
And that's actually a good point, because that 10 championship threshold has not been reached by many in the long history of the SCCA and these runoffs. That would be a big accomplishment if he were to pull it off here today.
He really, I think he obviously wanted it last year. He got his 9th last year in GT1, which just happened to have been our first race of that weekend, and he was up in that epic battle in the last race in GT3. Just finished. In fact, I think he was almost side by side with Colin Jackson across the stripe last year. He's definitely looking to try and get his 10th here in this race. This could be really exciting. His car that he's in, this is not exactly that he's new to GT3. That's the same car he used to run a GT3 series back in the 90s. That car had changed hands. It was essentially found in a barn. They've just dusted it off, maybe, replaced some of the rubber bits, and back out here he is with it. And you compare, he's got the 2nd gen RX-7 body, the silhouette on it. So it proves you don't necessarily need to have the latest and greatest car that was fresh built last year, because he's got that up on pole.
Yeah, fascinating too, to consider the level of experience. You look at our front row, and while Tony Ave only has 5 previous runoff starts, if you followed road racing in North America the last 15
He
years
started
or
a few
so.
more races than that.
Yeah, you kind of know what he's done. Everything from open wheel cars to some stock car, NASCAR starts. He's done plenty in prototype racing and sports car racing, and then here at the Runoffs as well, where he does have a championship to his name. So that's one of our front row members, and Michael Lewis, who we've talked about already. But you also have a couple of rookies, Runoffs rookies in the field, Christopher Howard and William Davis. What are their thoughts? What's going through their mind, do you think, with the Runoffs, their first Runoffs race about to start?
I think it's get through the first lap, get through the first corner, and settle in. If it's your first one, and you're, like you mentioned, was it William Davis further down the pack, he's not looking to try and get to a podium. He's looking to keep the car going and see all the laps that he can see. Some of those guys, that's at this point all they want. Another one that I had talked to, actually, who's one of the bigger names here, is Rob Warkaki. Didn't get a lot of seat time. He showed up out here essentially on Monday. Didn't get much practice time. Blew the engine on Tuesday. Didn't practice on Wednesday. Got the car, got the engine replaced. In fact, one of the other drivers in the field, Stacy Wilson, helped him swap his engine. So he's a guy who's only got about 15 laps in the car this week. First time ever at VIR. Our race is 15 laps. He's looking to double his seat time this week and just kind of chip away. Able to qualify 10th. He's a guy they could move up into that.
Speaking of qualifications, it is a little bit of a unique qualifying format for the Runoffs. Over 3 days, it gives you multiple opportunities to try and set that fast time, but time is at a premium.
It is. You get a couple of practice sessions over the weekend, but you get your 20-minute session on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and on Thursday. Whenever on those three that you do your fastest lap, that's the one that counts for you. But this group actually qualified in 2 of those 3 days with GT Light. So you had the GT3s, the GT Lights out there at the same time for 2 of the 3 sessions. Specifically, really may have hampered a little bit for Taz Harvey because he's running in both of those classes. So what I was seeing him do yesterday is when GTL and GT3 were both set up to go, he would park his GT3 car, the bright green one you'll see here shortly, down on pit road. He would then go get his GTL car over to grid, and he would run a flyer lap or 2 in that, park in the pit road, jump into the GT3 car, and go. So he's splitting his time between 2 cars, and really kind of hurts your chance to dial in the 1 car. So he's going to be getting a lot of seat time here. Harvey was 3rd last year, starting 4th today. Be someone to watch.
If you're just joining us and wondering what the delay is, there was an accident in the race prior to this one that has necessitated some repairs to the tire barriers. The staff at VIR working diligently to make sure those repairs are done in a timely but more importantly safe manner, because you don't want those barriers to be compromised. The tires are there for a reason, and they cushion blows when they're positioned correctly. So this is absolutely worth taking as much time as necessary to ensure our competitors have the safest environment once they roll out on track.
And they've been busy the last 5 or 6 days and doing those repairs. They've been doing a great job. Every time that there's a session with an issue, they're out there repairing them, and here we go.
That's a good sign. Fire up those engines and roll out on track. This is what we've been waiting for, and for some of the more inexperienced drivers, that's more time to sit there and stew and let the butterflies start fluttering a little bit more wildly in the stomach as they get set to head out on track. The next 15 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first, of competition, that is what's going to dictate how they remember their season of racing. That's all that you get to try and win a national championship, and this opportunity comes just once a year. As the field rolls out onto the track, that's a look at Michael Lewis, who won the Tire Rack Pole Award in that number 32 machine. Just a beautiful Mazda RX-7 that will lead the field to the green. He'll have Tony Ave alongside, who's from nearby Maiden, North Carolina, driving the Christensen Racing Engines Acura RSX. Jeff Durnold in the number 71 car. He'll start to the inside of the second row in his Mazda RX-7, another RX-7 outside of him, Taz Harvey, a contender from Danville, Canada. Then we got the 5th place starter, Joe Christensen. Stacy Wilson will start outside of him. Next row, Chad Bacon and Paul Young in 7th and 8th, respectively. Mike Henderson and Rob Warkaki look for him to charge through the field from his 10th place starting spot. Guy Ladig and Richard Smith in 11th and 12th. Christopher Howard and Ray Stevenson will start 13th and 14th. The penultimate row, Ken Nelson from Novi, Michigan, and Sam Moore from Kannapolis, North Carolina in 16th. And Shotgun on the field will be William Davis from Salisbury, North Carolina, one of the ones with some local track knowledge in that North Carolina group. Awfully excited that these runoffs are here on home turf.
They are, the folks in Carolina, part of this massive block party that was put on a couple of nights ago here. They took what used to be maybe one of the classes would have their own party. They just said, you know, let's coordinate these a little bit. So New England region had one, the Carolina region had one, it turned out to be great. The whole paddock was just a buzz. You can kind of wander between them and sample all the different foods. And I got to say, the Carolina region's barbecue, oh, just to die for. So good.
The region certainly has that reputation geographically. This is one of the hot spots for barbecues, so no surprise. And big thanks to them for their hospitality. Same goes to the staff at VIR. So excited to host this event for the first time. They've been hosting SCCA club racing since the 50s, so it's taken a little while to get the premier event, the crown jewel event of the season here to VIR, but I suspect it will not be the last time given how well received this has been. Drivers, fans, teams, everyone seems to love being here at VIR, and why not? It's a beautiful strip of road, really challenging as well.
They did run here in the 50s, but then they took a bit of a break, about a 25-year break, reopened the track, and it is just gorgeous. It still has that original charm, still just flowing through the hillside, between the tree lines. It's an amazing course. It's got the S's, it's got a couple slow corners, and right here where the old oak tree used to stand, then you'll rock it down this back straight up that hill, and you can kind of see it from the shots. There's a little bit of a yump there, and then they really climb to the top of the hill, where you might see some folks making some daring moves to go down the roller coaster.
For those of a nostalgic bent who missed the oak tree, the good news is there is a sapling, son of oak tree, that was planted. It came effectively from the original tree, and it's growing. It's going to take a long time to get where Dad was.
It won't be on the inside anymore. They have put it on the outside. But yeah, the oak tree still lives on.
So the legacy of that corner, there's so many, the roller coaster, haunt pin, oak tree, snake, and climbing S's, all these different terms and corners you hear. It just throws back to memories from a bygone era, and you think about the history and what has transpired at this racetrack, and we're about to write another chapter of it here. These GT3 cars put on a show, some of the most amazing sounding race cars as well. If you've got a love like I do of the rotary engine, you're in for a treat.
They'll be screaming down the front straight in a moment. But if there's a heaven on earth, it's VIR, quoted from the famous Paul Newman, who was a GT racer himself. I'm sure he's looking down just loving this.
Yeah, he knows of which he speaks. So, field in good alignment here. It'll be Lewis in the blue 32, Ave in the red number 4 in that front row. This is one of the faster starts we've seen today. The field already picking up the pace. That front row still perfectly aligned, waiting for the green flag. Coming down the front straightaway to start the GT3 National Championship race. Lewis gets the jump, Ave to the outside. We'll see, does Lewis defend the inside? He does. It's side by side further back, and now a look to the outside as the fight for the second spot is picked up, but Lewis is able to make good his escape here. He's got a bit of a gap, and the fight is much further back in the field.
Stacey Wilson making a good move there. He's just all over the track trying to find some room to stick up inside of Taz Harvey there.
Might have been a little contact with Smith, fighting with Henderson, Wakaki, Leidig, all in that mix just outside of the top 10. Wheel-to-wheel racing there in the opening sequence of corners, so Lewis was able to get a jump, but here comes Ave. He's not going to let Lewis get away. That's certainly the goal. Lewis was faster by a fairly significant margin in qualifying, over half a second, but Ave's got a lot of experience. They've been working on that race car. A little bit loose there, but we'll see what he can do if he can put some pressure on Lewis.
It took Ave a couple sessions to really get down to his lap time. In fact, even in this, after the Wednesday qualifying, Ave was still only in 4th. He was able to only get down to the 58s on his last session on Thursday. But he's dual driving this week on both these guys. We're going to see them again in GT1. Ave is just incredibly fast in GT1, and but jumping in between, he may have learned something because he was able to make that improvement yesterday. You should see him continue to creep up and up and up on Lewis and not let him escape.
That is Wilson running in 5th in the 47. Now we're taking a look at the car behind him. I think that is Bacon.
The half white, half blue might be Christensen. Can't tell, where's that Bacon?
Well, we'll find out together. Looking for a number on the car.
That that's the Honda Civic. That's Joe Christensen with the one half blue, one half white.
Definitely a unique-looking paint scheme, one that gets your attention. Indeed, the number 93 started in the 6th spot. Coming around to complete the opening lap. Again, 15 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first, with the National Championship on the line.
And that's a new build for Christensen this year. The car he used to drive is, in fact, the one that Tony Ave is already driving. So Christensen's still kind of getting that one up to pace, but looks like he's going to try and be a little racy about it here in early laps.
Up front, Lewis with a lead of just over a half a second when they came by the stripe the first time. Wilson on the defense now. He's got his mirrors full of bacon, which sounds tasty, but I'm not sure that's what he wants here at this early stage of the race. We've seen
Bacon's in that Toyota, I think, just one spot back from them. He's got a great view of this battle with the white and the green. And he's watching them coming through the lower S's there as they go under the bridge, and that sound as they go to the bridge, if you're standing anywhere near there, is just amazing with the combination of whether it's the rotaries or whether it's, like the Honda or the Nissan engines just screaming through there.
Of course, you're right. That is Christensen, as we just discussed. Now that's a look at Bacon running behind in the 7th position. Henderson, Young, and Warkaki round out the top 10, at least as they came around the first time. Through the Oak Tree corner. Now we take a look up at the front, and we've got a battle for the lead unfolding before our eyes. Ave trying to make his way around Lewis, has to tuck back into line here when it looked like he might have had a run initially, but boy, that 32 car, it does have some legs, doesn't it? And now sneaking into the fight is the number 71.
That just helped Jeff Durnell get right up in there, because now you had where both Lewis and Ave, neither one of them's helping each other draft, just gave a nice big hole in the air for Jeff Durnell to come in there. But Taz Harvey is also, so look at this foursome. I think we're going to be seeing this for the next 14 laps.
What a shot that was of Lewis's car just spitting flames out the side exhaust. Beautiful shot, beautiful race car. But under pressure right now, Ave trying to find a way by. Durnell waiting to see if he can pounce, if either of the two cars ahead of him make a mistake. And definitely don't forget about Taz Harvey.
And don't forget about Jeff Durnell as he's making the move now on Tony Ave.
Got a great run down the front straightaway and gets the move complete nice and early. So that was as simple as they come. Textbook outbraking maneuver, and now he sets sail. He's looking for Lewis.
As Hayward mentioned about walking the grid, that the only car in the front that's on the Goodyears is Michael Lewis, and all the other front runners are all the Hoosiers. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe the Hoosiers took a little longer to come in, but now they have.
Durnell is a 3-time Runoffs runner-up. Hasn't got that breakthrough win, so you better bet he's going to be awfully encouraged by this great start and see if he can track down Lewis as we drop further back. And once again, Wilson and Christensen continuing to do battle over the 5th spot.
That's just a great battle right there, but they're losing sight of this foursome out in front, unfortunately, as they now come to the uphill S's. They just can't quite stay with them as they've been fighting each other.
Well, one of the beauties of the Runoffs, this is such a bucket list item for so many club members. Christensen takes a peek to the inside, a little too far back to do anything. And yes, you have that battle up front, the heavyweights like Lewis and Ave and Durnell and Harvey, they're going to fight for the championship, but every position, no matter where it is in this field, means something to the participants. Just being here is an accomplishment. You have to go through a qualifying process.
Look at the pace of Durnell going up the hill. He's right on Lewis's tail.
Durnell can't make it happen this time, but definitely making his presence known, and that gap, such as it was, maybe half a second when Durnell made the pass on Ave, it had disappeared just a moment ago. It stretches out a little bit as the cars accelerate. That's to be expected. This is where the car was super fast, and he made that pass on Ave start right here. We'll see if he can get a run on Lewis.
I see this third-gen RX-7 body chasing a blue car, and all I have is flashbacks to last year where it was Colin Jackson. It was a Nissan, but, still that blue car leading, and this kind of action, Durnell is not going to let him go anywhere. He's just going to pester him.
Well, just 3 laps into this race, and Lewis already having to be defensive, guarding the inside line. Durnell took a peek around the outside, probably at this point in the race, just testing to see what kind of traction is available for him, should he have to make that move a little bit later on, as Ave has really dropped back now into the clutches of both Wilson and Christensen. So this is a bit of a surprise. He was one of the favorites picked to win by Sports Car Magazine. We all know how perilous it is to try and make these predictions ahead of time, but surprising to see him dropping back.
Guy Lading off track there. Not quite sure.
Here's a look at the replay. Oh, a lock up there at the right front. It did something fall off the race car.
Yeah, it's coming up into the fastest straightaway there on the back straight, coming up into 14 into the top of the roller coaster. Look at the amount of grass and dirt that Guy Lading has picked up into the front of that car, and that's not breathing well.
So I would say even if something hadn't broken, that right there needs to be attended to just from ventilation point of view.
A crack across his fiberglass on the right front anyway, but back to these leaders.
Briefly, I did notice Lading pointing out of his window, kind of looking off to the side towards a corner worker stand, so that might be a sign that there is something amiss with that race car. Here is the battle for the lead, though. Lewis in the 32. The red 71 is Durnell, who's made quite a charge. Started in the 3rd spot, but was able to dispatch of Tony Ave surprisingly easily. So that makes you wonder, especially as Ave continues to drop back, if there might have been something amiss with the number 4 car. But right now, Durnell putting the pressure on Michael Lewis.
And he does seem to be faster in the straights, and some of that obviously is the draft, but he just seems to be getting a great pull off of the exit to these corners. Although this time by, Lewis has definitely got a little bit more than he had on the last one through.
And remember, we were talking about that GT3 challenge, kind of the championship within a championship, and Durnell is one of those eligible for that, and ultimately it comes down to who amongst those eligible finishes further ahead in this race.
Stacy Wilson and Rob Wakaki are the other two. There's right now Wilson running 6th and Wakaki running 10th. We talked about Wakaki is having the issues earlier this week with getting seat time and keeping the engine. Now he's got to swap it. So he's got some work to do if he wants to get up to Durnell right now. He doesn't just want the GT3 challenge win. He wants this race win. He wants that gold medal.
Gap at the line the last time by, under a half a second. The leaders running very fast lap times. Really, you look at the top 4, all running sub 2:01 second lap times within about a half a second of each other, and that includes Ave, who seems to have stabilized a little bit, but unfortunately has lost all of that ground. He's now some 5.5 seconds behind the leader, Lewis.
Yeah, well, with his pace, he's got the potential to maybe close back in. If these guys start dicing too much with each other, they'll just fall right back to him, but otherwise Ave's just got to keep making sure that Christensen and Wilson in that battle behind him doesn't get through. Because you never know in GT cars, reliability's always been an issue. These cars this year have been reliable, but I've already talked about some engine swaps that have happened, and 2 of those actually have been Stacy Wilson and Rob Wakaki. So, you know, you're always watching for that. You want to leave yourself in a good position.
Look at the run that Durnell got. Pokes the nose to the inside. The door is slammed shut rudely by Lewis. He's not having any of that.
Lewis not making a mistake. He's under all that pressure, but he is hitting his marks. You just watch him. He's hitting the apexes just right to get that run. But Durnell, I don't know if he's got a little more power in his rotary versus Lewis's, but with the draft and sort of being the chaser instead of the chasee, but this might be it here.
He's going to make him go around the outside. We've seen Lewis defend that inside entry into turn 1. Durnell obliging. He does make that move to the outside, hard on the brakes. You see the flames spitting out, a little lockup of the right front. Not able to get the job done that time. Lewis very stout in his defense.
And you see what that battling has done? It's brought Taz Harvey right into this fold. So these 3 Mazdas are just going to be nose to tail.
It's RX-7 from RX-7 from RX-7, but there is the tire difference.
Yeah, with Lewis on the Goodyears, the other 2 on the Hoosiers.
And of course, slightly different body style for Lewis as well. But running very similar lap times. And by the way, the gap at the line was under a 1/10 of a second from Lewis to Durnell. So this is the other thing he can be thinking about. Even if he can't get the move done to pull ahead for good, if he can get that run out of the final corner and just nip him at the line, he can start timing that and see where he's got to be to try and get that done.
He's got 10 laps to think about it with Taz Harvey in his mirrors. And now I'm watching Tony Ave, who's kind of closing up again. He just turned the fastest first sector time. You look, and he's only now probably about 2.5 seconds behind you, so you can see him in the shot there.
He was 0.6 of a second faster than Lewis on that last lap. So whatever was going on appears to have rectified itself. And this could be another 4-car scrap at the front of the field. There he is, Tony Ave, that red number 4, Ave with such experience, and here we go. Battle for the lead, and it goes the way of Durnell. He's able to sweep around and make the pass.
And let's see now the roles are reversed. Does Lewis now make those same kind of runs? But Lewis can't look anywhere because now he's sandwiched between the third-gen bodies. He's got Taz Harvey right behind him. And again, Ave, personal best, second sector. He's right on the tail of his pack.
Again, it's worth noting that Durnell has finished as a runner-up 3 times, has not tasted victory at the runoff. So,
including just 2 years ago at Indy, he was
in his last start.
That 2 years ago, Colin Jackson walked away. I can tell you right now, Durnell is not letting anybody walk away unless it's him.
Oh, look at that. Hard on the brakes for Lewis. He's not giving up. You can see the car squirming around him. Just some amazing visuals with this class. A little bit of body roll. You see the flames spitting out.
Ave making a move on Taz Harvey. Yes, he does make the pass coming out of 1.
Man, what happened to Harvey? Because he was right there. We were starting to talk about him being a challenger for second, and he has really dropped back. Ave, by the way, with the fastest lap of the race the last time around.
Which sets almost a new fastest. The track record here at GT3 is a 1:59.607. That was a 1:59.671.
So this replay is going to show us how Ave got by. He came from a long way back.
Harvey looks like it got a little too wide. There's some good grip about 3/4 of the way out, but you can't go that wide. It looks like Ave just ducked underneath.
So Harvey's going to have to settle in and try and...
He really has fallen back even through the second sector.
His hands have been busy. I've been able to see them through the windshield, and you can wonder if maybe the car's not quite handling right. You mentioned he drifted wide, and oh boy, here comes Tony Ave. And he's not afraid to be the bull in the china shop either. He's got that Trans Am experience, and there's a little bit of the old Rubbins racing attitude.
Right now,
that's right. Now they know each other well. And this could be really interesting, and if that were to be the case, as we see a problem here for Warkaki, that's a shame.
Still moving under his own power, but like I said, he had just put this motor. This was an old engine they thought was reliable back in. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is not an engine.
Now just
got out of rhythm across those curbs.
And it doesn't take much. You have to be so precise through that part of the track.
Yeah, that's coming off of exiting 4 to 5 down through the snake.
Ave's got a nose to the inside of Lewis. This was your front row. Lewis, the Tire Rack Pole Award winner. Ave to the outside at the start of the race. He's to the inside here, but look at that. Such great straight line speed relative.
As much fun as it is to watch these two guys, I'm wondering at some point, are they going to look at each other and say, wait a second, Durnell's going to run away if we keep battling each other? Because Durnell's already a 1.5 seconds up.
He fights back. He's going to be stuck on the outside here, but he gets it done. That was quite a move. And now stretching that gap. Let's see. He's been the fastest car on track the last few laps. The gap is only a 1.5 seconds, and Ave's hungry. Whatever happened early on in this race, it seems to be well in the past now, and Ave is on the move. You see Lewis falling back, and maybe that's tires. Again, the one...
I wonder about that, yeah.
The one Goodyear runner up in the front of the field in qualifying. Maybe just a little bit of a grippier compound wears out a little sooner.
As Ave now getting past him, just went purple, fastest first sector of overall. He's already got fastest lap of the race, so he's chipping away.
Well, closing in on the halfway point, the lead is shrinking. Tony Ave, he's starting to reel in Durnell here in the SCCA runoffs at VIR.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Isn't it time you connected to something greater? sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was brought to you by Haggerty, for people who love cars.
Find inspiration in every mile. The Mazda CX-5 with turbo. Feel alive.
A change for the lead as Tony Ave has been able to make his way around Durnell, take that lead away in Oak Tree, and now trying to pull away from the Mazda RX-7 that's in hot pursuit. But this battle's not done quite yet. We'll go to a replay here and see how the pass for the lead was made. Ooh, really threw it in deep there. Look at that.
He took the risk reward coming around South Bend, and it paid off for him. Got him the better line to break into Oak Tree, but it looks like coming across the top roller coaster, it's not done.
It is still not done. Jeff Durnell ultimately relinquishing the position, at least for the moment, gives Tony Ave at least a couple of moments to catch his breath. But let's see, this is where that RX-7's been really strong. We saw him make the pass for the lead here on the front straightaway.
He's very fast in a straight line. Again, he gets upside of me. We just saw this again as he was up there with Lewis, and he's doing it again now to Tony Ave.
Tony Ave on the inside of the number 4. Jeff Durnell trying to take that lead back. Again, a 3-time Runoffs runner-up. Was leading just a moment ago and has now been dropped back to second place, but still a long way to go. And this race has been up and down. And also, we still aren't quite sure what happened to Tony Ave. So whatever that was, it could happen again.
And I started to wonder if it was a missed shift coming through those downshifts at the top of the hill going to roller coaster, because that's about where he lost it. Just want to also note Taz Harvey looks as though he may have dropped out. He's a couple laps down. And now looking at Lewis, he's dropped to 6th. He's way off the pace as Christensen now to 3rd. Bacon and Wilson in a tight battle there for 4th.
And also worth noting while we were away, Tony Ave in his pursuit of Jeff Durnell reset the track record.
And he did, yeah. It's now down to a 59.0, about 6/10 quicker than Durnell's previous record, as that's the number 40. That's Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson from Miami, Florida.
Again, spinning looks like coming down the roller coaster.
Here's a look at it. What do you see?
Well, as he gets into that kink and just gets too far left, probably picks up a little bit of clag on the left side of the track, and at that point you can't brake, you're just down the other side of the hill. Luckily didn't get too deep and was able to catch back in.
How about this? Durnell now starting to drop off the pace, and Christensen is starting to rally. He's going to take a peek, and oh, there might be something wrong with Jeff Durnell's car because he just got past like he was standing still.
Oh, he got it spun around there at the Oak Tree, got a little high centered there on the inside curbing, got it going again. Let's see if the car's okay from that, and that explains why Christensen got him. So that means Ave and Christensen, the two buddies in those Hondas, right now sitting 1 and 2.
Well, this has been an up and down race. We've seen something of everything. Certainly no one has dominated, although Tony Ave finds himself in a position to try and do just that with the pace that we've seen from him. Again, he was the pick to win. Sports Car Magazine selected Tony Ave as the one to watch, and starting to see why. He just keeps on uncorking fast lap after fast lap, and now with the problem for Durnell. Oh my goodness, as I say that, Ave is off the track and stopped.
That's it, going into turn 1, I believe that is. He's just on the inside, and now Christensen, both of them.
Both Hondas in the same shot. That's a lot of steam or smoke or something coming out from under the hood of Christensen.
And it just looked like it locked up. You see him just go straight off. There's oil there just on the exit of the track.
And that promotes Jeff Durnell back to the lead, if I'm not mistaken.
With Bacon right on his tail and Wilson just a little back. Nothing's decided, unfortunately, for these two. They're out, and then there must be oil there. As you can see, the Ford Probe of Paul Young sliding on it.
Look at
there's
this.
Our leaders.
It's now the battle for the lead. Your podium finishers all in one shot. Oh my goodness, this is going to be interesting with 5 laps to go. You mentioned maybe some fluid on the track. That's the one thing to keep an eye on. But if we stay green, what a battle royale this might be.
Yeah, you got that Toyota wedged in between those two Mazdas now.
Looks like full course yellow. That's what we're seeing on timing and scoring.
It's got to be
at
that
least.
oil going into one. It's a dangerous spot to have that kind of oil down.
Especially with the car sitting there. If somebody else gets in the oil, the car has a tendency to find the car that laid it down, right?
Unfortunately, precarious position
So
there.
there you see it, double yellows, and our safety car will be dispatched.
Heartbreak for both those guys. They were both running strong.
5 laps to go. It'll be 4 to go at the line. Durnell looking for that breakthrough runoffs victory.
3 times the bridesmaid.
What did Shakespeare say? The slings and arrows of outrageous fortune? Well, it's kind of the way this race has gone. And for Durnell, I think he's the one person in the house that would love to see this finish under yellow.
He would be just fine with it, I'm sure. But Chad Bacon right behind him. We have North Carolina region. We talked about him, local to the area. He's up here from Mooresville. As he's up in that mix currently in second.
And that's the shot right there. Richard A.B. Smith. He told me to emphasize the A.B. He said, my alias is Rabs. To be honest, he told me what A.B. stood for, and I do not remember. But he's from Loxahatchee, Florida. It's a 1993 Mazda RX-7. He's been racing RX-7s for 27 years. Not quite on the pace here of the leaders. And there, you can see the oil in that shot. Here we go. This is the replay.
As soon as he goes and lifts that motor, it just stuck. And he just got it straight as fast as he could. It's locked up.
So he and Ave, it's basically the same car, right?
For it, you know, I think there's probably similar power plants in them. I'm just shocked. Obviously, one's the older car, one's the newer car, but that's just unfortunate.
And they both stop on the same lap, basically in the same spot.
Yeah, that's a long walk back to paddock, and it's tough because both of them at that point were sitting essentially first and second. One pulls track right, the other goes track left, as they let Mr. Smith there go on by in his Jamaica-colored RX-7. Love that paint job, by the way.
It is a sharp-looking car, really friendly guy, quite a character. Really enjoyed talking to him earlier in the week. He's a regional service tech for Sainz Gearbox, a dealer in service, and just really enthusiastic about his racing. He said, if I win, it is a beautiful thing. I think anybody who wins one of these runoffs would agree. He was realistic in his outlook, though, for this weekend. Just wanted to have a good showing. Never been to VIR before, hadn't done the test days. Just learning as he went and having a blast. You couldn't wipe the smile off his face. 4 laps to go behind the safety car here. And there's going to be some cleanup to be done. Maybe you want to fetch those cars. Especially the Christensen car is sitting in a precarious spot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just straight past that braking zone there. Hopefully that one can get towed out pretty quick once they get this field under control. The other winner in all this right now with all what's been happening out there might be Paul Young in that Ford Probe that you can see, that blue and white with the pink outlined letters. As he had started back, I want to say in 8th, now worked his way up to 4th.
And he's a real veteran, 22 runoffs appearances. No wins, but 9 podiums.
That's a long time running. Looks like right now, you know, if we finish in these conditions, he'll finish just off of that podium, but a great drive for him.
He was a runner-up to Stacy Wilson, who's also in this field. That was in 2016 in Mid-Ohio.
Big shout out to Stacy Wilson. There's actually a video out there on the GT3 Facebook page of him helping pop the motor into Rob Morkaki's car the other nights. And then, of course, he steps over to his own car and had to replace his own engine, which is what he's now driving on. That shows you the camaraderie that these drivers have amongst this class. And usually across all of the club racing classes, everyone wants to beat each other on the track, not in the trailer.
Our friend and colleague Greg Creamer likes to say, you join SCCA, you join a family. And imitation, Greg, is the highest form of flattery, so I'm going to rip you off on that one, but it's apropos, that's for sure.
Come for the cars, stay for the people.
That's right. That's right. And especially on a weekend like this, you don't get a ton of time on track. It's not like, you know, you're pounding around multiple practice sessions a day. You get 20 minutes a day for each class that you're in. So it's a lot of hanging around, and if you don't like the people you're hanging around with, it would turn into a long weekend.
I think Jeff Durnell right there is telling the 75th anniversary Camaro driver to pick up the pace. Let's
That's
get
right.
these 4 laps over before they can finish this cleanup.
Well, think about this, too. Here we got the speedy drag going down. How is that going to change the way that you approach this racetrack. It's going to be a big unknown if we do go back to green.
If they go green, and consider where that oil is, it takes away the entire normal braking line that you go into, and it's going to force everyone to go inside, and then it turns into a one-line braking zone, which this is actually has been the best passing zone of the weekend, right in this turn 1.
Does that help Durnell?
It would, yeah. If they were able to go back to green, it should help him, because that should help him keep Bacon and Wilson behind him, as it's going to be hard for them to get that run with no place to go if left side of the track is all covered in the speedy dry.
Just a remarkable race. Thinking back on how this started, it was the front row. Michael Lewis, who by the way has really faded and in fact is 3 laps down, so has only completed 8 laps. I think he's probably pulled off track at this point, which is a real shame. He was your Tire Rack Pole Award winner. He and Tony Ave shared that front row. Lewis kind of ran away at the very beginning. We had a great scrap a little bit further back. Ave was in the mix and dropped back, but then came charging through the field, reset the track record, got his way to the lead. He had his Honda compatriot Christensen right there with him, and then next thing you know, both of them were off to the side. You see one right there, that's Christensen's car on the flatbed.
We had barely said the words. The 2 Honda friends are up in the front row right now, and they were both out on the next corner. Just unfortunate.
It's really been all over the place. Unfortunately, we've had to run a couple of these laps here under yellow, but
a couple cars I want to mention. Obviously, that Volvo right there, that is Sam Moore out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, Central Carolina region, selectvolvos.com. Awesome. That right there, to me, is the epitome of what club racing is all about. He's got this old Volvo, mixing it up with the more modern Mazdas and Toyotas that are out there, so I'd love to see that.
A veteran of 10 runoff starts, did finish just off the podium in 4th in an e-production race at Road America in 2010. And anytime you can see a Volvo race car, that's a cool thing. That's one of the appeals, I think, of this event. You come and you see some cars, some race cars, you just don't see anywhere else. And I would say that would be an example of that.
Other car to mention up here that I see is, of course, Mike Henderson. You'll see that's that black 3rd Gen RX-7 body, that number 12. That actually is the car that Michael Lewis drove last year to that runner-up silver medal at Sonoma. Henderson had taken that event, ran a different car, let Lewis go ahead and drive it. This year he's back in that car, right now running in 5th.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to talk about Chad Bacon from Mooresville, North Carolina, driving that 2010 Toyota Celica. He's in the 2nd spot. So continue under yellow here. He was a runner-up in this class at Daytona in 2015. Has another medal finish as well with a 3rd place result elsewhere. Has done some GTL racing. Did make an IMSA GTU start as well in the 90s. I was digging deep for my research and uncovered that one. That's pretty cool.
That's a theme in this field. If you notice, all these drivers have run some of these IMSA races, and that just shows you the talent, how deep it runs.
This is his 12th runoff start as the track crew continues to do their work. This is a good opportunity to think about them, the flaggers out there for the dedication that they display, the volunteers as well. There are so many people that make an event like this possible, and there's so many ways also of getting involved in the SCCA. That
Ken Nelson right there. There's a guy who's been in this class a long time, 21 starts coming into this, and been in this class forever. He's finished as high as 5th in the past, right now running 7th, and he's a guy from my area of the country up in Michigan who just loves cars. I started chatting with him yesterday, and he's telling me about these car club events that go on. He's inviting me to come out and join him at the next one coming up in a few weeks. It just, breathes and bleeds everything that there is about the amateur level of club racing, and great to see him back every single year coming back out. Shows that you, again, don't have to buy the $100,000 car at the front of the field. You can come out and run your older GT3 car that you've had and just keep pushing.
Yeah, I said his whole family was going to come out and watch him race here this weekend. His son, Nick, and daughter, Erica, are on site, so welcome to them. Hope that you're enjoying the experience. Worked for Chrysler for a long time and ultimately retired from Chrysler, but has been racing since 1973. And he's told me a little track in Michigan called Groton is his specialty. The car is really good there too.
It is a track with a monster front straightaway. I know that track, and an insane turn one entry that just scares the bejesus out of you every time you go see it. It's got a great yump on the back straights. It's got a little bowl turn. Oh, Groton's an amazing place.
If you can be fast there, you can be fast just about anywhere. It's a unique racetrack. There's no doubt about that. But good to see him in the field. Hopefully he's having a good experience. 21 previous runoff starts, so definitely a veteran racing since 1973, Ken Nelson. So that's the latest look at the cleanup as it continues.
But 2 more by when they come through.
Oh, what is Jeff Darnell thinking right now? He wants this win so badly.
And there you go.
That might be what he's looking for, the black flag.
Which will suspend them, but then how far are we with the remainder of time? Because these are limited to 15 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first. So we'll keep our eye on that. They may be looking to see if they basically go to a 1-lap flyer or 2-lap flyer if we cue them back up. It's so hard, and the reason they're doing this is because the cleanup is essentially the entire braking zone into one. Those workers just can't work with the cars coming by every couple of minutes, so this will actually help them speed that up.
So running order right now, Darnell, Bacon, Wilson, Young, and Henderson. That's your top 5, and there is the checkered flag. I was wondering if that might be what Jeff Darnell would want to see when they brought them in. Going to go ahead and call this race a little bit early. Oh, I can't wait for this interview. He's been so close on several occasions. Had the lead, lost it, and the next thing you know, he's right back in the thick of things. And before we went yellow, he was under a ton of pressure. And you kind of had to wonder how this was going to play out if it had kept going.
Well, he had spent the first 5 laps pressuring Michael Lewis, gets the lead, and then Ave catches him, and he's trying to pressure Ave. And so he's the most interesting. If there's an in-car video from Jeff Darnell's car, I want to watch that video because he, as the race winner, he clearly had the most exciting race as well.
Well, this was a roller coaster of a race with comers and goers, and many times the comers became goers and then became comers again, and no one embodies that better than our race winner, Jeff Darnell. He's got the helmet off. Hayward is down there, and why don't you have a word with our gold medalist, our national champion, Jeff Darnell. Hayward, are you down there?
Jeff Darnell, a bizarre ending to this race. When did you know you were the leader?
Well, you know, I wasn't sure. I spun, and I got all goofed up. I smoked the clutch, and I praying to God that the thing would come back, and the yellow came out, thank the Lord, because I don't believe I'd be sitting here. But, man, what an awesome, awesome race. I had some fun.
What does it mean to you? You've taken a couple of shots at this one. What does it mean to you to put this car at the front of the field for GT3?
It means everything. I've been doing this for since 2001, busting my butt with this guy right here, Barry Trevette with Robinson Racing. They built this car. Barry is my best friend. He has gone through thick and thin, and we have been through some trials and tribulations, and we finally did it.
Well, congratulations to you. You got enough car left for a victory lap?
Maybe.
That's fantastic. That's what it's all about. That smile says it all, and you could tell just what goes into this that makes it extra special as we look at the results. No doubt about it. No one more relieved than Jeff Darnell, who picks up his first national championship here in GT3. Chad Bacon, Stacy Wilson, all medalists. Not sure that they would have predicted that just a couple of laps before we went yellow. Paul Young, Mike Henderson, 4th and 5th. Rob Warkocki, Ken Nelson, Ray Stevenson, Sam Moore, and then Smith finishing in 10th. Hayward, you got 2nd and 3rd?
I often say that the happiest guy is first on the podium, the second happiest is 3rd, because, man, he made the podium, and that guy in 2nd just wants one more shot at it. Is that where we're at?
Well, you kick yourself for giving one away, because I had the chance to pass him, but I thought it was full course caution. I went down into one and almost turned around backwards because of the oil. And I saw the flagman holding the flag sideways. I thought he had 2 flags, but I guess I only had 1. And as we went around the corner to 3, I stayed behind him. I could have passed him real easy right there. I'd have been full. I didn't see the full course till we got over to 5. So it's kick yourself for that one. Wow.
Well, these things happen. Congratulations on the 2nd. A great finish here for you at the runoff.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to grab our 3rd place finisher while we're at it. We got a camera shot right before I went full course that had all 3 of you in it, and we thought we were going to see just a knockdown drag out into a GT3 race. It finished under caution. How do you think it would have gone if it stayed green?
I don't know. I was struggling. I think I might could have got back around Chad if we went back to green, but it's the way it turned out. But I can't thank everybody enough. Everybody at Hoosier, Bruce and all the guys, Big John at Hoosier, David Cook, all the guys at Mazda, Adam Janicek, everybody that's actually helped us in any way. I can't say enough. My family, my son, my daughter, my wife, my son's wife. You know, it's just it's wonderful. We get to do this as a family.
Well, congratulations to the family for a podium finish.
Thank you very much.
Well, it certainly is a family affair. They can enjoy this just as much as the drivers do when they see all of their hard work and sacrifice rewarded with a result.
Yeah, definitely. It's, you can see this here and how different the ending went from what we see here at the beginning. But you can see right there, Stacey Wilson's in that mix and able to kind of stay in and get on that podium. But watch the front three these first couple laps.
It was wild up at the front here. We had a slide and a spin. It's the number 78 machine there of Orkaki. Ultimately, he had to settle for a 6th place finish. And this was the battle for the lead at the time, with Tony Ave fighting with the pole sitter and taking the lead right there away from Michael Lewis. We thought that might have been the pass of the race.
Lewis at that point, tires going away, not sure what happened to the car, but then again, pass for the lead. Ave on the inside of Darnell, and we thought again, can Darnell stay with Ave until Ave's motor appeared to have given up, and you can see him there as his buddy there, Christensen. His motor gives up in much more dramatic fashion.
Yes, Ave on the left of the screen pulled off. Christensen, unfortunately, has his day come to an end early, and that ultimately brought out the double yellow and ended the race early as well. Congratulations to Jeff Darnell, a breakthrough national championship in GT3.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires
We have so many tires.
and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.